had a killer offer to get in Loudness, and I got to say, my first exposure to you was the You Shook Me video. And I had some of the Loudness albums prior, but I was like, oh my God, that just hit me. And I'll never forget, I remember getting that album, I think probably for Christmas, 1989, and it just blew me away, man. It's just got amazing songs, amazing musicianship. What are your thoughts when you revisit that album?
You know, I love that record. You know, it was a great record. The songs, like you said, they were all killer. You know, just really, you know, Akira, just everything about it was awesome. You know, I thought the songs were great. You know, the You Shook Me video, we actually were all kind of shocked when it came out because it was comical for us. You know, when we filmed it, you know, there were girls in the video. It was supposed to be something completely different. When it got released and we actually saw it, you know, it's like, what the hell? Where's Godzilla? Are you kidding me? You know, especially being a Japanese band, and you know, it was cool. I mean, for the time, it was cool, but we were just like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. But yeah, the record was great, you know, and it was doing really well. You know, a lot of fun with those guys. Killer band.
How did the songwriting work? Did they just have the music done and you had to write lyrics and melodies over top, or how did it work?
Yeah, well, for that record, you know, they had been looking for a singer for quite some time, so the music was already recorded for that. So when I came in, we got all the lyrics together and melodies, and a lot of the stuff I would sit with Akira. Sometimes he'd have something melodically in his mind, or I would have something. So that's pretty much the way it worked through our whole time with them, where I would write the lyrics and most of the melodies, and Akira might have an idea too. But you know, pretty much they would, you know, Akira was the main songwriter as far as music, so mostly all came from him.
Got a favorite track on that album?
On Soldier, oh God, you know, obviously I love Soldier, and the Soldier of Fortune. I used to really dig Long After Midnight, which that one didn't get a ton of play, but it was a really cool song. But you know, hard to say. You know, the ballads were great on that. 25 Days from Home was killer. That's, I think, the whole record. But, you know, Soldier of Fortune just has tons of attitude. I really dig that song. You know, it just kind of sums up what the band was trying to do at the time, and has a lot of attitude.
I'd say Danger of Love has kind of grown on me over the years. I'm not really sure why, but I really dig that one.
Yeah, it's a cool song. You know, I go out and do solo shows all over the world, and, you know, once in a while we'll pull that out and we'll do it. But, yeah, that's a good song. All of them were really cool in their own way.
So the thought, I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the thought was to break this band big in the U.S., right? And the thing that kind of strikes me weird is there's only one single, and it really wasn't the most commercial song on the album, not even close, and there was no real American tour. So what happened there? Why wasn't there more singles, and why wasn't there a tour in the U.S.?
Oh, you know, we were supposed to tour, and we had all it's just more political stuff. The management had been abusing their power for quite some time, and we found out that we were broke after Soldier. You know, it's just the management had been, you know, overseeing all the finances, and there was just no money to do anything, and it all almost ended. And luckily, we were with Warner Pioneer at the time. It was called. It was Warner Records and Pioneer Records, and they decided that we would they would let us do another record, they would fund it, and we would just release it in Japan, you know, and then recoup, you know, then the funds would be flowing, and then we could do another record for the world. But what happened was, as we were doing that record, the label decided they really liked it and they wanted to release it for the world. So that's why On the Prowl is a little odd, because it originally wasn't supposed to be for the world. It was only for Japan, for that territory. And anything in Japan we would release would be gold and platinum within a couple of days. So, you know, that's what happened. You know, just again, just management mishandling our funds, and there just wasn't any money. So luckily we were able to continue, and On the Prowl actually did really well. And we were getting a lot of promo, and we started touring the States, and we had not a lot of people know, but we had an accident in Texas, and I actually ended up getting a bunch of glass in my face and in my eyes, and my brother was with me on the road, and he ended up getting hurt real bad, and we ended up being holed up in Texas for like 2 weeks. And when the tour resumed, it just became a real mess. So it all fell apart, but we were really, things were great. Things were real successful. Venues were full. But, after the accident, the guys in Loudness, the other guys just didn't really want to continue, and they made it really difficult. So there's a lot more involved, but everything just started falling apart, and that was the end of it. By the time we got to New York, everything fell apart. So really unfortunate, but circumstances, stuff happens. Just can't get around it.
What was the thought process of redoing some of their old songs from their Japanese albums and putting American vocals on it? Was that part of the project that you're talking about that was just supposed to be for Japan?
That was it. That was the reason we were like, I personally I wouldn't have done it. I said, no way. We have to do something more like Soldier, but
right.
They had come to us and said, let's do this cover record. We'll cover some of the old Loudness stuff and have, English lyrics, but we'll release it in Japan. And like I said, anything in Japan that we released went through the roof. So we were supposed to go back in and then record a brand new record. And, they came up with this bright idea of just releasing that. And, they let us do a couple new songs, but it was just a bad idea. It just wasn't a good idea, and I knew that at the time. And Warner was paying for everything, and we were kind of at their mercy. So, and the funny thing is that record did well in the States.
I had it.
It was, did well, and things were moving forward. So we could have moved on from that, but it just got really, really wacky. Everything went downhill quick.
One thing that that I wonder about, and maybe you'll be able to clear it up. So when you guys redid these songs, these aren't translations, right? This is a new creation on top of an old song, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think In the Mirror we kept the title, right. I believe. But they were just, like, hey, do whatever you want, over the top. And there's actually one song called Find a Way.
Yep.
That it changed so drastically, the label let us use it as a new song, but it was from an old song. But they were like, well, geez, it took on a whole new life. So, but Find a Way was an old Loudness song, just that it changed so much vocally and melodically. They just, they said, okay, it's a new song, and we got all the publishing and everything. So, kind of bizarre.
So then years later, and I don't want to skip ahead because I want to keep the timeline going, but years later, this concept almost comes back into your career with the Anti-Metal USA, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. That was a wild project. A lot of fun. Yeah. That band, great band, and just, oh my God, so much fun with that thing.
I had to make that reference there, Mike. I figured there was a correlation there.